Hi everyone, welcome to a Weekend of Heroes 2006. This is one of the most unique action figure military collectibles shows around, and that it actually puts the action in action figures.
Not only can you show up and buy toys, but you can also meet real military heroes. You can even pick up model vehicles and then jump in their real-life counterparts.
One of the coolest things about a Weekend of Heroes is the fact that they invite real war heroes down to the show. Each year they make limited edition action figures of these guys, and they actually stick around so that they can sign the figures for you, and they give speaking engagements. It's just a really amazing opportunity, and where else could you get that but America?
Let's take a moment to meet John Liu, the show's creator, and see what's in store for us at this year's Weekend of Heroes.
We have fantastic VIPs this year. Major Alfred Ascon Congressional Medal of Honor recipient from Chihuahua, Mexico. They're earning Medal of Honor in Vietnam. How awesome is that? We have Leanne Hester, Sergeant Hester from Bowling Green, Kentucky / Nashville, Tennessee, and earned a Silver Star. First woman to earn Silver Star since World War II. And then, of course, we have Lieutenant Gerhard Fransky. He was a daring special operations paratrooper in World War II Germany, and now he's just a gentle, nice old dude from Arizona.
John, this is the fourth year that Cammie and I have had the opportunity to document this show, and every year it's more and more unique.
Toys is one thing. History is a separate subject, but when you combine the two, something magical happens. We're fortunate enough to have the collectors come together. Yeah. They have themselves a great time. We honor the heroes, honor their family. That's what it's all about.
We had the opportunity already to go through some of the convention and meet some of the kids that are there. They're awesome, and the families. They get to go up to a real war hero.
Yeah.
And come home with an action figure signed by that person.
Yes.
And take a piece of history with them. And that action figure is always going to sit up on someone's shelf, and their grandkids and their children, their grandchildren are gonna ask their dad someday.
Yes.
What is this figure? Who is this?
Oh,
well, that's Anatoly Kozlov.
Yeah.
He fought in Stalingrad.
They're not made up heroes. These are real people, real stories.
There's some of the collectors group in the forum talked about what is a Weekend of Heroes. I think one of them put it in a very nice way. He said Weekend of Heroes is a weekend of friendship and memories. It's just fantastic because that's what it's all about. And I can't take all the credit because without the gracious sponsors who listen to my crazy ideas and go with it. and they're like, okay, John Liu, you want to rent the Tiger tank from Saving Private Ryan and bring down a T-34 Russian tank? Now, how much does that cost? And all for one evening, a 30-minute battle in the name of toys? But for these guys to believe in me and to allow us to have this opportunity to make it happen, it's great.
Talking about these memorable experiences from past Weekend of Heroes, we put together a little something, a little walk down memory lane. We think you'll enjoy it, and you as well.
I wasn't studying.
Yes, he wasn't.
Finally
reached. We've been waiting for you for 2 days already.
And I still don't know whether we lost or won. So. By the way, I find it was a long time. Did we win or did we lose? Yes, you were there. Yes.
Well, you were better shots than we were because I got hit twice.
I must be the better one.
You must have been better shots.
My name is Ed Pepping. I was one of the 4 original medics with Easy Company, the 506 Parachute Infantry, the Band of Brothers.
I'm Walter D. Ehlers. I'm signing action figures, and these are figures of me and my brother.
Doesn't matter what uniform they got on or what they represent, we are depending on them to teach this country the history of what went on.
Sometimes our vehicles do not make Berlin.
Actually, in Stalingrad, we didn't have a break for coffee. He made this up.
So nett und so freundlich sind. Und das
He's very happy and he wants to embrace even his opponents because he feels very happy that enemies turn out to be friends.
I did the very first Weekend of Heroes with John in 2002. April 2002, we did the first one together, and that's when I met John. And ever since then, it's been a great friendship. Well, I think what it does is it lets people get an understanding that people are important that do the things that like Nathan Self and Jason Cunningham have done. And it also, I think, fosters a great deal of patriotism in our country.
Someone paid a price for us to be able to have this country and to do the things that we do in this country and to be the country that leads the world in every aspect. And if we start running out of people that are willing to pay the price, this country won't be able to be the country that it's always been.
This was Jason. This is Jason, really. And I don't know. There's a part of me that really feels like this is a culmination of everything that he was. When he died, I kind of thought it was such a loss because every time he met somebody, they thought he was special. And I mean, for my sake, obviously I'd lost something huge, but in the grander scheme of things, I thought, you have two girls who won't know him, and there were people who wouldn't meet him, and he was one of those guys that just did everything well. And he was a cutie, and he was, I don't know, everybody sort of fell for him.
I don't know, I'm kind of blown away by that. It's kind of neat because I just know that's something that my boys will be able to look at when they're older. I know that if they ever take it to school when they're young, that no one will believe them that it's their dad. But to be paired with Jason in a box is just such a great honor for me because Jason's a great man. He paid the ultimate sacrifice. I met him the day that he died, and we served together and we fought together as hard as we could. And I love him for what he did, and it just means a lot to me to be represented with him.
America, spread your golden wings, sail on freedom's wind across the sky. Great bird, with your golden dreams, flying high, flying high.
Restless one in a world of change, keeping dreams aloft in the rain. Spirit free, soaring through the land
Of time, America, you must keep dreaming now, dreaming the promise now of your pioneers. America, keep on flying now, keep your spirit free, facing new frontiers.
I've seen the differences that we're making over there, giving them an opportunity to have something that we take for granted. Freedom is great.
people say, why would you go back for one person and possibly lose others? Because you got to have that kind of commitment from the heart.
Ever since we became a nation, we fought for freedom. We fought for freedom to become a nation. We fought for freedom in the Civil War. We fought for freedom in World War I. We fought for freedom in World War II. And we're still fighting freedom around the world for freedom. And if we don't have freedom, we're in deep trouble.
So I am an American and proud to be so.
Guys, that was great. That was absolutely fantastic. It brought back a lot of memories and amazing people. Thank you.
All right, guys, enough living in the past. Let's go check out the show.
What exactly does Gunny stand for?
Gunnery Sergeant. It's a Marine Corps rank. It comes right after Staff Sergeant. Where'd you go to school at anyway? You start out, you got a private, then you got PFC, then you got Lance Corporal, Sergeant, Staff Sergeant, Gunnery Sergeant, First Sergeant or Master Sergeant, Sergeant Major or Master Gunnery Sergeant. There's your rundown. There's the breakdown.
Am I going to be tested on that later?
No, but I hate to drop you down for 25 right here, I mean, in front of everybody, but however, the deck is spick and span in here. There's no question about it.
So how close are you to that character in Full Metal Jacket?
Basically, I wrote the lines. It was I have to say that was me when I was a drill instructor at Marine Corps Depot. Now 45 years later, they're still pouring that drill instructor out of the same mold. So the Marine Corps says, if it works, why fix it? Obviously, recruit training in the Marine Corps is extremely effective because, look at the finished product. Hurrah, Semper Fi. And they're the guys over there kicking some serious butt today, aren't they? So that's the way it works. Hurrah.
The History Channel was getting a lot of emails from viewers asking about stuff, and I figure we're getting all these questions. How can we use this? How can we answer these emails? And so they came to us and said, how about developing a show that we can do that with? We try to write it in a way that young people can understand it and that there's still some nice little nuggets in there for grown-ups that already know a lot of this stuff. And the Gunny's unique way of delivering the stuff is hilarious, and people love to watch that as well. Coming to events like this, dealing with the reenactors, we knew that community was out there, and they bring a lot to the show, and we're really grateful.
How's the event been for you so far? Have you had a pretty good turnout?
Yes, yeah, the event here, I mean, these are Gunny's people, so if they know he's here, they're going to come up and say hi, and gives Gunny a chance to talk to them, thank them for their support, and remind them to, when they see GIs in uniform, American men and women serving, to thank them for their support as well.
Hi, we're here with Mark and Sandy from Build-A-Rama. Mark, could you tell us a little bit about your business?
Yeah, we make military diorama miniatures for 132nd scale, 118th scale, and 172nd scale. And we just make all the accessories for the toy soldiers, buildings, crates, drums, that sort of thing. We're one of the only ones that do this type of thing, so it kind of allows customers to come in and see us for what we're doing, and kind of allows us to show the world, that you can make dioramas and accessory sets, with some of the figures that are out there.
Here we have Go Wing Distributions, or what I call the home of the OGI Joe.
I'm a high school teacher. I'm a Marine Corps reservist who's been over in Iraq twice. We did a combat tour in 2003, and we just came back off one in March, providing close air support for the multinational force.
You're the real G.I. Joe, and you had the fun stuff here too. Well, thank you for having you here.
Thank you for putting on this great show, and we look forward to coming back next year.
Hi, my name's Blaze. I entered the diorama contest my second year
Why do you choose Weekend of Heroes to showcase your talent?
because it's here. Because I like all the people and I get to see all the dealers and everything like that from around the place. I see it all on computer, but it's nice to see them all in person.
Well, let's go see what this man created. Oh my God. Wow. No kidding. How long did it take you to make this whole thing?
Off and on over the whole year.
And you're still married?
No.
Occupational hazard. This is fantastic.
And some of these Viking helmets I got from Cost World Collectibles. Some of the figures, and then I buy a lot of figures from the guys at Echo Base Toys. You know, I just collect all the parts and then try to put them all together.
How did you guys enjoy the show today?
I loved it. It was great.
Have you been here before?
No, first time.
Really? Are you going to be back?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Next time with more money.
Yeah. Well, that was pretty cool being able to sit up there in the Humvee and pull back on cock the guns, you know, and fire them, and that's really cool. That was neat. But there's just so much stuff here. It's hard to put your finger on one single thing, you know.
The show's fantastic. I was here last year too. The show's fantastic. I wouldn't miss it for anything.
That's
Been
wonderful.
waiting for a couple months before it came on.
You guys enjoy airsoft?
Love airsoft. Been in the airsoft for maybe 4 years. I just got back from my line call game. She got shot a few times being a medics, you know how it is. They look for medics and shoot them first. You know?
Weekend of Heroes is not all about toys, action figures, or dolls, as some would call it. Here we have the real deals. Could you introduce yourself, your rank, and the unit you're with?
I'm Sergeant Weston Sanchez with the Installation Support Group at Los Alamitos, California.
And what are you doing here this weekend?
Well, we're recruiting for our unit and for the National Guard, and we're here to support, obviously, the Weekend of Heroes. Mr. Liu puts this on, and I know he does it in dedication of those that serve and those that sacrifice, and that's an honorable thing, and we support that because he supports us.
Now, since last year, Weekend of Heroes has produced a sister show called U.S. Airsoft Expo. Since both shows really have the same interest in mind, basically military history, honoring the military, we decided we'll combine to one. Now, this gentleman here, in spite of his Mickey Mouse business during the day, he actually is one of the more reputable airsoft dealers here in Southern California.
Hi, Eric Fan, owner of Tsunami Airsoft and Steelhawk Airsoft. It's the perfect marriage between military enthusiasts who could buy the toys, you know, because they just love the stuff, and us guys over there who take it a step further and actually get out there, get dressed up, and go shoot each other with it.
And what is your day job?
I do marketing for toys for Disney.
See, Mickey Mouse business. And we love having you here. Thank you. But now we have an exhibitor, a co-sponsor no less, who flew thousands of miles all the way from Hong Kong to support Weekend of Heroes for the second time in their role, and we really appreciate that. Michael, 你好。那你大老远从香港到这边来，会不会很辛苦？
也不会，也可以，也还可以。
那你为什么会选择我们这个 Weekend of Heroes 来展示你的东西？
哦，因为这个展览了，是我看是在美国是很出名的，应该是这个1 to 6 is only this show. Yeah, everybody know it. Yeah.
他们有在这边赞助，有对你们的这个 product 有没有什么好处？
有，当然有啦。是啊，我也很喜欢这些罗马的。是。
你当初大家都做德军跟美军，你怎么会去做罗马呢？
哦，因为当时是这样的，所以我是很喜欢这个罗马的，但是我是找来找去，这个市场没有人做。那些朋友告诉我说，为什么自己不做啦？让我试试看，做出来市场有接受，这就可以了，就是这样子。
谢谢，谢谢。Mr. Louis Tran, owner of Triad Toys. Louis is the man with the plan. When he first told me about his product, I was a little skeptical because it's been 30, 40 years of action figures. Nobody's really done this, and we're looking at the man who made it happen.
We're all collectors of the hobby. I mean, every single one of us, I personally, or sculptors, everybody is a diehard fan of this stuff. And, you know, none of this, whatever we want to get made, never gets made. So I said, screw it, I'm gonna do it by myself and just, you know, fund it myself, do everything by ourselves. Design it, manufacture everything all on our own.
And your girlfriend or your wife, it's okay with this?
She loves this stuff. She sees what we do and she's like, oh, okay, you know, you guys do good work. I'll support it.
Now that is a very understanding woman. Thank you, Louis.
So, John, you really like those female action figures.
Oh, yeah. Female action figures traditionally has always been a challenge. You have two types. You got the cutesy Barbie doll look, or you have that scary Halloween look.
Yeah.
And sadly, when it comes to action figures, it's always the scary Halloween look. But this year, as you saw, some of the exhibitors brought out some absolutely amazing.
And they're beautiful. I mean, yeah.
Great combination of strength yet beauty. And that was nice to see. They looked more true to life than well, minus maybe some of the chest, but you know. But
Maybe the
more
good
true
part.
to life.
Now, did
That's
you
what
know
I
some of their chest plates are replaceable?
No!
You could interchange their size.
Does it work for the men action figures too?
That will be the size of their gut. And they usually like to make that smaller.
Oh my God, that's great. So I actually had the opportunity to connect up with Sergeant Leanne Hester at the show. How did you hear about her? How did you find her, John?
Every year we honor predominantly male heroes, and I was really searching for a female angle. So I started typing on the internet, female hero, female soldier, and then a female soldier, I found this picture of Sergeant Leanne Hester, and the headline says, first woman to receive Silver Star since World War II.
Wow.
Now that caught my eyes. I started reading about it, and I'm like, oh my God, she's 23 years old. Shoe store manager in Nashville, Tennessee, called out to National Guard duty, went to Iraq. She's an MP. When I talked to her over the phone, she was such a down-to-earth person.
Yeah.
That Friday night, the Medal of Honor dinner, when we're sitting across from one another, she asked me, should I wear my civilian clothes or ACUs for Saturday? I looked at her with the hairs down, with proper makeup, in a cute little white dress. I said, Sarge, I think you better wear your ACUs because in that skirt, with that hair, everybody just gonna go, where's the sergeant? She was just a fantastic person, great sense of humor, and evidently a brave soldier.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like before you went in, were you working at the shoe store then?
I was working in Shoe Carnival, or at Shoe Carnival, managing a Shoe Carnival in Nashville, Tennessee. I'd been working there for a little bit over 4 years at the time, maybe 5 years. And I'd actually born and raised in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and then moved down there a few years after I enlisted in the National Guard. And then basically got deployed, and here I am.
What made you join the Guard? What got you involved?
It's something that I always wanted to do. Just like law enforcement and military. I always looked up to a woman in uniform, pretty much, and I always wanted that woman to be me.
So like growing up, was it like a G.I. Joe's or Barbie?
G.I. Joe's. my sister played with Barbie dolls, and I played with Hot Wheels and G.I. Joe's.
Gotcha.
When I joined on March 20th of '01, I waited about 6 or 7 months until I went into basic training. And a month before I shipped off for basic training, September 11th happened. 2 years later, I went to war. Just like any other day, what we do as MPs, we go out there and we patrol the route. We clear it of IEDs and insurgents, and just make sure it's a safe area of operation for us and the convoys to get through with the supplies and whatnot. We happened just to turn around on one convoy, about 30 semi-trailers, semi-trucks, and it just happened to be the right convoy, I guess, to follow that day. Basically, we moved up and to the contact sign of the convoy, started laying down fire. What appeared to me at first was about 8 insurgents, turned out to be 40 to 50. Our gunners started putting rounds down, and then we make a turn to flank the enemy. And the lead vehicle, which is my squad leader's vehicle, gets a direct hit with an RPG and actually knocks the gunner unconscious. He falls down. He actually gets shrapnel in his right above his eye and on his face and stuff. He's bleeding, and my squad leader thought he was dead. But he wasn't. He popped up about 5 or 6 seconds later and got back on his 50 cal and started putting down fire down range. As soon as I got out, and I can hear bullets pinging off the ground and hitting the truck behind me, and everybody's yelling, and it's hard to hear anything. You really don't pay attention. Your adrenaline is just a pure adrenaline rush, and one thing, you start putting rounds down range, or something bad's going to happen to you if it wasn't going to happen already. So, my squad leader came back over to where we were, and I let him know that there were still guys in this trench line. And when he came over there, I told him that I'd taken out a few of the guys, but there was still 3 left in the trench line. So we decided there was only one way to get the right angle on these guys, and that was to jump in the trench with them, with literally no cover. I'm throwing my grenade, and the whole time either one of us was doing that, we were putting rounds down range and hoping for the best that one of them was going to hit these guys. And they did. We assaulted through, I think we threw 5 grenades total, and assaulted through, and somebody called a ceasefire, and that was the end of it. Climbed out of the trench, and we had 3 guys wounded, and our medic happened to be riding along with them that day, and he came out unscathed, and he was able to take care of the other 3 guys in the truck. So.
You said you always looked up to a woman in uniform, so now I guess you're the woman to look up to. You are the first female Silver Star recipient since World War II.
First,
is that correct?
For combat action, period.
I don't know, do you ever look back now at what happened that day and say, man, how did I get through that?
I do. The things that I think about now are what could I have done better, or what could we have done that would prevented our guys from getting hurt or wounded, or just little things that you could have done that you go back that you can't change now, but at the time would you have done it, or would you have just let it play out the way it did? So I think about it a lot, and it is true. Training kicks in, and I don't know, it's just gut instinct. It's you or them. In this kind of situation, there wasn't a whole lot of us and a lot of them. So I knew if we didn't take action quick, that something bad was going to happen. So.
Is there any chance of you redeploying anytime soon?
More than likely.
Yeah.
Military police get deployed a lot more than any other unit or MOS. So if I stay in, there's a good chance that I'll go in the next year or 2. So.
How do you feel about that?
It's what I signed up to do. So if they need me to go, I'll go. Do I really want to, depending on where it is? I guess it depends on where it is, or how long the tour is. But I really don't want to go back to Iraq anytime soon. But like I said, if they want me to go, I'll go. So, from my experiences, the deployment, I know there's a lot of people out there that don't necessarily agree with the us being over there in Iraq and Afghanistan and all that good stuff, but giving them an opportunity to have something that we take for granted, freedom, is great. a lot of times the little girls would really look up to me, and just the look in their eyes were just like, wow, you'll never have the chance for the freedom that I have. Hopefully they will. Hopefully this will all pay off in the end, and they will. But like I said, that's one thing that's well worth us being over there is giving them a chance for the future.
The G.I. Joes you used to play with when you were younger, you are one now. That's got to be pretty incredible, huh, to have an action figure?
It's kind of cool to have a Barbie doll of me. No, it's cool. I don't know, never thought that would happen, but it's definitely a chance in a lifetime, I guess.
I might have to splurge and buy that
one. my doll.
Your doll.
As Sean would like to say, my doll.
I'm gonna have a little Leanne on my bookshelf next to.
It's a paperweight.
Oh my gosh! Well, Sergeant Hester, thank you so much for talking to us today, and God bless. And I wish you the best. Hopefully, you don't have to go back there anytime soon. But they could send you to the Bahamas or something like that. But
when duty calls, I'm there.
Exactly.
Whether it be Bahamas, Hawaii,
and
or
thank God,
Afghanistan.
But thank you very much for your service and putting yourself on the line, to spread freedom.
Now, each year, in order to get this show going, we need to find somebody with a deep pocket. That's not a very easy task, especially knowing the gas price, which influenced the price of plastic, which influenced the price of action figure manufacturing. Standing right here is Mr. Tony Chin of Merit International, who graciously picked up the title sponsorship for the second year in a row. How's the show doing this year?
I think it's really great, and especially with all the vehicles parking here and the reenactor group. So we really we merged the reality with the 1/6 world, and I think this is really nicely done. These are from BBI Blue Box International from Hong Kong, and these are the 1/18 scale product. They cover from anywhere from World War II to the latest modern U.S. Equipment and figurines, and these are catching a lot of interest. These are really good to attract newcomers to the hobby, so that eventually they will grow into 1/6 scale or other military-related hobbies. On this side, we are showing mostly of the 1/6 scale military action figure, which in a way is the theme of this show here.
Now, can you show us some of your product from Merit International?
Well, Merit, we are still keeping our own products under wrap, but later on, I will show you.
It's the man with the secret plan.
I started with G.I. Joes 40 years ago, so that kind of dates me. And I've never really put them away. I work for the Defense Department. I work for the Defense Prisoner of War Missing Personnel Office. I'm the Southeast Asia Team Chief, so I'm responsible for our policies regarding the approximately 1,800 men that we still have missing from the Vietnam War in Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. And I have a personal interest. The man on my MIA bracelet was a Special Forces SOG NCO who was lost in Laos in 1968, and as a matter of fact, his remains have been returned and identified, and he's going to be interred, not sure if it's going to be Arlington or in Texas, sometime this summer. A couple years ago, I was in Vietnam. I left Vietnam, I came home, and the next night I caught a 7 o'clock flight out here for this show. I got in at 2 in the morning. I was here Saturday, and I had to come home back to Washington Sunday. And John said, I cannot believe you're here. And I said, well, I'm not going to miss a weekend of heroes. And I got back from Vietnam in time, and I'm here. My wife thought I was crazy. My body said, "You are crazy. You can't do this anymore." But I wouldn't miss one of these shows. It's just a lot of fun, and there's a significance here with what John stands for and what this show, honoring men and women, heroes, and sacrifice that they've made for this country.
I got a question. I mean, I'm not complaining, mind you. I like the view, but what does Hooters have to do with Weekend of Heroes?
Oh yeah, it's got plenty to do with Weekend of Heroes. Well, first, you got to take a look at this poster here. Now, that's not accurate advertising according to the Army, correct?
She is a soldier. We know her personally. She is one of our recruiters' daughters. So yes, this young lady is actual recruiting.
No, but if you got young ladies like this, would that help recruiting? Let's go find out.
This is a good man right here because you know what? He brings the things that are important, like the Hooters girls, to events like this that boost the morale of soldiers like me. That's all I have to say about that.
Because in Iraq, this scenery is very rare.
Right. There aren't many hills in the desert, that's all I can say.
Okay.
Hooter, John?
Highway Patrol.
The what?
Hey, Cassie, he hasn't been hootered.
You've never been hootered?
No, he's not been hootered.
Can you assume the position?
Bend over.
How do I assume the position?
Bend over.
I have to bend over? And this is why we have Hooters at Weekend of Heroes, to boost troop morale. The first time with us is a company called G2 Generation Guns. This is an airsoft company that traveled all the way out here from Houston, Texas. Tell us a little bit about your company and why do you choose to be with us?
Well, we're based in Houston, Texas. Wholesale importer, airsoft, but we also carry a variety of product. And then I heard about your Operation Irene and various events that you put together online, and then it was just amazing. And then I finally got the information for the Airsoft Expo information and hurried up and booked it. And it was just as good as I expected. It was wonderful.
Well, we also noticed, I love having you guys here. I noticed your shooting tunnel is very unique. Can you show us a little bit about that?
Go around and take a look. It's just a basic flash that we created. Nothing serious, nothing complicated. But we want to give the end user experience on the product, airsoft. People who's not familiar with it, want to have them have a feel of the product.
I see that I wasn't the only one who got hootered. Let's go check this guy out. Oh my God, and I thought I was the unique person, her true love. She only hootered me, but evidently not. Look at you.
I'm a Hooters boy. That's right.
Well, this is our big cat, big daddy with the Lion Claw series. You seem to be having a lot more fun this year than you were last year.
Yes, I am. It's a great show. I meet a lot of the same faces. I meet a lot of new faces. Always people. It's always great to meet people here that are interested in militaria, and more importantly, military history. The people who are important to us that represent our military today. And John, you put on a great show.
Well, thank you, but I am still jealous. Looks like you got 3 more than I did.
You keep pushing those buttons, something's gonna pop out.
Hooters, John?
Of course. It's a recruitment tool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we get it.
Maybe we should call this a weekend of Hooters.
Think about the 1940s pinup girls on the side of B-17 bombers, on the side of A2 leather jackets. You know, the soldiers are out there, they think about their honeys back home. If it brings a smile to the troops, why not? It's harmless, good fun.
You know, that's so funny that you say that, John, about the pinups and the B-17 bombers, because Lieutenant Gerhard Fransky was actually German Army, and he's no stranger to B-17 bombers. Tell us a little bit about how you found this gentleman.
Well, every year we have to have a German not about their political agendas, but about the cool uniforms they had in World War II. Now you think about it, some of their uniforms were designed by Hugo Boss. If they spent that kind of energy fighting the war, maybe they would have won. But thank God they didn't. Years ago, when Berlin Wall first went down, East German military was very popular. And I was into buying, selling and dealing in that item when it first came out. It was hot then. Gerhard was one of the dealers who had great connections in Germany. He could find me swords belonging to the battalion commanders, daggers, and fantastic uniforms. And I only knowing him as the cool old dude from Arizona who has great connections in Germany. It never dawned on me what he did in World War II. Maybe I can find somebody who parachuted into Yugoslavia with the most dangerous man in Europe, Otto Skorzeny. That's a long shot, but I thought I'd give it a shot. So I called my old friend Gerhard in Arizona. I said, Gerhard, do you know any old German, paratroopers, special operations who jumped in Yugoslavia with Otto Skorzeny? And he says, in his typical Gerhard fashion, he said, yes, I know. I go, really? Do you know anybody still alive? He said, yes, I know one. And I go, yeah? Can you put me in touch with him? He said, I certainly can. You're talking to him. And you can imagine my response was,
right.
What? What are you talking? So he started to explain, and I just about to fall out of my chair. And I was like, why didn't you ever tell me anything about this?
Yeah.
And he simply said, you never asked. Makes perfect sense.
Well, there you have it. From German special operations to John Liu's special delivery of his collectibles, we bring you Gerhard Franzke.
Well, it's not like some people say you have to go in the Hitler. It wasn't like that. You either go or you don't. There was no pressure put on you. It's same as or similar to the Boy Scouts here. We have the Cub Scouts and we have the Scouts. So by the year 1937, I also joined. A couple of years later, I joined a group in the Hitler Youth that was also divided into groups or different groups. Like we had the regular Hitler Youth, just like the infantry, let's put it like. You might say it's a pre-military training. A lot of people say that, and actually it cannot be denied. It was. So I joined the communications branch of it. Some people joined a branch where they learn how to ride a motorcycle. And there was a air branch also where they started to learn how to fly a glider. Now for boys at that age, it was tremendous. And when I was 17, I volunteered for Waffen-SS. I wanted to be a radio man. That's what you think. You become a machine gunner. So I became a machine gunner.
Funny how things change, huh?
Yeah, well, you know how to play piano? Yeah, well, we need you over here. Move it. So I got into as a machine gunner, and somehow I let it be known, I made a pest of myself. Hey, I know what you're trying to teach these guys. I already know. Well, finally, they found out that I really do know, and I got that switch. I got what I wanted. I became a radio man. And in the Waffen-SS, I worked all the way up to regimental HQ radio station. Actually, after I had given up my MG-42, my machine gun, that's what I did all the time until I became a prisoner of war, which was after the Operation Market Garden in 1944, October. They tried to kill Hitler in July of 44. And I was still in France. We were going south, meeting General Patton's troops that landed in Awoh. At that time, I began to wonder, is this going to happen like it happened in the First World War? Are we going to be blamed, or is the home front going to be blamed, or what is going on? They're trying to kill Hitler. what is it? Is it treason? Or what is it? There was a doubt in my mind, you know. But as the war progressed, it was also obvious, even to a 19-year-old guy, it was obvious that we're not going to win that war. By the time I became a prisoner, and I was in England already as a prisoner of war before, or by the time that the Battle of the Bulge started, around Christmas time 1944. We, of course, got no information what's happening in Europe. What is happening? You know, we have already retreated so far. And the Russians have moved so far in. My home was in Leipzig, which is in Saxony. So who's going to be there first? The Russians, the Americans, the British, or who? Things that happened, you had to let it go as it happens. You just kept wondering. And by the end of it all, after my prisoner of war period, which ended actually 1948, it's a long time, you know? The British loved us. Since my home was actually occupied by the Eastland, by the Russians, I had no desire to go there. I'm gonna make myself a life wherever it is. And as a matter of fact, I wanted to go to either Canada or Australia, New Zealand or something, but I ended up in New York. Even at my age, do a little reenacting of World War II.
Now, when you reenact, which side are you on, the American or the Germans?
Actually, I cross-dress.
Okay.
I am mostly, let's say 90%, I am portraying my unit that I really served on in World War II. But sometimes, and it's not a political deal, it's a military and an honor to the soldier, I also portray the 101st Airborne. Like on Veterans Day, for the last 8 years, I have always marched in the Veterans Day Parade in Phoenix with the 101st Airborne. People have made me an honorary member of the Airborne Association. And I honor that, I appreciate that, and I honor the soldier.
How does it feel to be honored by having an action figure made of you? That's got to be pretty interesting.
I feel real humble, actually. I mean, as I said at the beginning, I said, well, this is a weekend of heroes. I have met some of the heroes, but I'm by no means a hero. I don't know how I got in here, but I was asked to come here because of perhaps some of the exploits or the experience that I have had. Yes, I feel being honored because it is basically a U.S. deal, you know? We're honoring some U.S. soldiers. I have been a citizen since 1964. So I'm an American. And whatever happened before, you either don't talk about it or keep it in the back of your mind, you know? That's the way to go.
Have you been to one of these events before?
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
How did you like it?
I liked it a whole lot.
Did you buy anything?
I got a Dieter and file. A Dieter Herman and file, I should say.
How long have you collected?
Well, since I've been like 2.
Wow, that's very nice. Did your dad start you on that?
Yeah, except thanks for saying that's very nice.
You're welcome. What a sweetheart.
We said hello to the mail call guy.
Oh, yeah? Okay, now that's really cool, huh?
Yeah, we got an autographed movie.
That's even better.
I got to meet the gun crew.
Gun crew?
The Confederates over there. And we were looking at these Romans and we just said hello to a Roman.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Is that exciting?
Well, yeah. Like, I like doing everything here.
So you're coming back next year?
Well, we'll try.
Now, we all know Weekend of Heroes is not just about action figures, and it's about action, the military. Now, this team here, these guys bugged the jeepers out of me as a non-profit group, not even a paying customer. But let's see, they really did a great job decorating their booth.
Well, it started in November 2003, and we've just been growing steadily since then, and finally got some good publicity here at the Weekend of Heroes 2006, and we gave it our best, and here we are, just ready to go, recruiting and talking to people and get them into airsoft.
Now, will Hooters help your recruitment too?
If they would come and play, I'm sure they would.
These guys did a great job. I was so proud of you guys. You definitely have a great booth. Definitely one of the absolute best airsoft booths we have seen. Thank you. Oh my God, there's a hot camera chick. Excuse me, ma'am. Are you the hot camera chick from Operation Irene?
Yes, I am.
Oh my God. Sir, were you at that famous Operation Irene?
I can neither admit or deny.
But did you see the hot camera chick there?
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us.
Oh, well, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure. Trust me.
Oh, trust me, it's all these other young men's pleasure too. Let's go see what Lion Claws is all about, this big fuss about airsoft and war games. Let's come check it out.
My 5th ones last year. It's just a great bunch of guys going out shooting each other, having a lot of fun. I get to be with all my friends, see all my friends from all around the country. You know, it brings us all closer, but I think really one of the most important things is being able to hear Master Sergeant Mullins and Colonel McKnight speak about all their fallen friends and stuff, because that really gets to me in closing ceremonies and opening ceremonies. It's just a team building event, and you know, it's just a bunch of good guys getting together, having a lot of fun, and a couple of ladies too, of course. But and we get to see you, John. That's the best part.
Oh, thank you. I'll PayPal you later. It's great to see you. Always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much for inviting us. This is, I think, our 6th year overall of being with you. We started with you in Glendale.
Yeah.
And we followed you all the way to Ontario. So we're happy to be here.
You guys are so awesome. How do you compare the show year after year?
Well, you know, it's good because it's always changing. You know, so I'm always look forward to see what the layout's going to be, who's going to show up. If I can do it, you know, I would be here all 3 days.
Well, dude, you've been with us so many years. How do you like the format this year?
Worked out great. Yeah, we've been coming to Weekend of Heroes since back in early, 2002 was the first branded Weekend of Heroes show. Been here every year, have a good time, sell some stuff, make a little bit of money, and it's great to be able to interact with the manufacturers and the fans. You know, it's a great whole package, and we have a good time coming out. Glad to support it.
And how far did you have to come in from?
Just from Mesa, Arizona, 6-hour drive, long drive, lots of beef jerky, lots of Gatorade, but you know, great. But it doesn't matter where it's at, we'll be here. Antarctica, Weekend of Heroes 2008, we're there.
I'm sorry. This man just asked me if there's a Hooters contest. No, my friend. It's a hot ladies in military costume contest sponsored by Hooters.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But is that why you came to the show?
Yeah.
You pig. No, but seriously, why do you come to Weekend of Heroes?
Oh, for the figures, yeah, for the for the friends and everybody's into the hobby. That's basically it, and you know, it's the best place to be.
I love John Liu for everything I love this man. But I came to an airsoft convention to get airsoft stuff, and I leave with an action figure.
Okay.
And I love it. I don't know why. I don't even know why. I came for a gun. I left with an action figure who's got more stuff on it than I do, and I probably waste more money on this stuff than I have in airsoft stuff, and that's a lot. That's a lot.
You're a good man. And I know it was a scam all along. We go from airsoft to action figures to military vehicles.
Genius. And I And damn you for it. I joined the United States Army, and I leave for Fort Benning, Georgia, in about a month and a half, a little less than that. And I'll be back soon to play with John Liu and his great Mill Sims again, because those are that's the closest you can get to it. There's nothing else like it in the world, and it's great. And I hope to come back and mix in our tactics with their tactics and kick butt.
Hey, good luck.
John, I hate to tell you this, but I think you're in the wrong business.
How's that?
You're a natural on camera.
Oh, please. You're the hot camera chick.
Oh, my God.
And who can I thank for that one?
Well, I guess now would be a good time to explain that one, John.
Very innocent.
I know I was.
When you put 300 Type A's with guns in a combat environment, and you put one attractive young woman there taking pictures like this, some of those guys are going to drop their weapon and their tongue at the same time.
That's kind of what happened. You're referring to the airsoft games that you produce also. Operation Irene, Operation Lion Claws. There's Hak Bao, which is a Vietnam more so reenactment. And these are actually military simulations, but they're with civilians, but they're led by war heroes.
That's correct.
Pretty interesting idea. I mean, this isn't your average paintball weekend.
That's taking Weekend of Heroes to another level. Yeah. We play with action figures, and now you are the action figure. You are a part of the action.
How many people that you know of have decided to enlist in the military because they've been a part of one of those?
Oh my God, it's that's both good and bad. I attribute their commitment to serve this country to the leadership they experience from the VIPs, and I'm just glad this weekend of wargaming could create something so inspiring for them. It's fantastic, and that's why I brought in US Airsoft Expo as a part of Weekend of Heroes. Mm-hmm. It's, for all intents and purposes, it's the same hobby, paying tribute to the military. Mm-hmm. Airsoft is not about killing, it's definitely not about war, but it's about strategy, about teamwork, about being there for the person next to you.
There's no race, there's no color, their creed or religion. I mean, you're counting on that person in a military setting for your life, but in an airsoft setting to accomplish, the goal that you're going after.
Absolutely. And one of the best example is this year's guest of honor, Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, Major Alfred Ascon. That's right. He was, in his own words, a Mexican in the American Army in 1960s. To overcome racial diversity at that time, in itself is a big achievement, let alone earning a Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
Right. For crying out loud, he wasn't even an American citizen.
And he's fighting for a country that he's not even a citizen of.
Right.
What would possess someone to do that,
Because in his heart and soul, he is an American. And he showed that. He proved that on the battlefields of Vietnam.
I came into the U.S. when I was maybe 2 or 3 months of age. Came into the country at that time, and I was a legal permanent resident. And I had I had some idea of the fact that I was not a U.S. citizen, but by the fact that I'd been here so long, it was a natural assumption that I was an American. But as I say, I'm Mexican by birth, American by choice. I was a legal permanent resident, and I became a U.S. citizen when I came back from Vietnam in 1966. I think probably the greatest thing is the fact that the military was an equalizer for me, an equalizer for a lot of people that come to this country. And the thing is that the military is not prejudiced within itself. It ends up being individuals. And that's one of the things I found out very quickly is the fact that you're looked at by what you do and what you're able to come back and accomplish, you as an individual. And that's what I like about the military.
Major, you're a Medal of Honor recipient for the events that occurred on March 16th, 1966. Can you walk us through a little bit about what happened that day?
Well, very quickly what happens is the 16th of March 1966. It's a battle that's taking place in War Zone D, and at about 6 o'clock in the morning, the North Vietnamese, quote, Viet Cong opened up on the 2nd Battalion, and they were literally surrounded in the landing zone. enough in which they thought they were really in dire straits, so they ended up asking that the 1st Battalion go in and assist them. We ran into an ambush that was being set up, and we ended up going at it with them. What I ended up doing, which was, nothing that I could think of, just trying to go in there and just help out the people that were hurt. I took care of one person who was, I guess, dying, took him off the trail. I went back and I retrieved an M60 machine gun, its ammo, and spare barrel, and took that out of the way. And they claimed that I threw myself on 2 separate occasions on individuals to save them from exploding hand grenades that they claimed they would have gotten killed if I had not jumped on them. And I was wounded, I think 4 times at that time. And one of the injuries was a bullet that went into my left hip, went up my spine and came out of my collarbone. And then I was injured numerous times with hand grenades. You're more concerned with the people you're there to help, because that's your job, or that was my job. I was a medic, but I was also a soldier. The first thing I did was, I'm an infantryman. Until somebody ends up getting hurt, then I became a medic. And that was really what I was there to do, there to take care of my friends, to take care of those who were wounded. And there was never a thought as to what's going to happen to me, because it's always taking care of each other. When 9/11 broke out, I was the director of the Selective Service, quote, affectionately known as the draft. And that was a presidential appointment, working for the Bush administration. I was also a reservist at that time. So I did what I felt was the right thing to do. I left my position as the director of the Selective Service and came on board as a reservist. I was assigned as a medical advisor to a general officer in Afghanistan. Then from there, went into Iraq, willing to serve, without any qualms. The only thing that had changed was the fact that I was, quote, a little bit older. But the quality of death is there, equal opportunity to get killed. Most of the times they tried flying me every place that they could, because of the fact that I was a Medal of Honor recipient. They were a little bit worried that something was going to happen to me. So there was a few incidents there that were fairly close. Ever since I was a little boy, I mean, probably 9, 10, even earlier than that, I was scrounging enough money to buy airplane models and, putting 50 pounds of glue on them. And so by the fact you make a disaster out of them, you're able to come back and blow them up and put firecrackers in them or burn them. So that was fun. All of a sudden you see the new action figures are starting to come out, and literally fell in love with them because I think they were, true to the scale, and most of all I was, taken by them. I think a diversity or a menagerie of different things. So I've got my own little United Nations in my basement.
You have been to many Weekend of Heroes conventions. How many do you think you've been to?
I've been to all of them. Every single one of them. As for myself, doing custom figures, I enjoy seeing other people in the community and see what, kind of envelope they're pushing. Maybe learn a little thing here and there.
You were formerly in the Navy, is that correct?
I was in the Navy for 11 years. I was a combat rescue swimmer with HCS 5. And I got out about 8 years ago and pursued my career as an artist. I turned down the option of becoming a SEAL. I was like either deciding to do that or be an artist, and I decided I'll take the art route.
So do you make some of these figurines that we see?
Yes, absolutely. The Arlie Ermy figure was produced by the company that I work for. I have to say that this show and the first show have probably been the 2 best. There's a lot of visual things going on right now, and it's pretty exciting. So, I can see where some people think, oh, well, that's, trying to present the military in a glorified way. Well, yeah, it is, because we need to. These guys are out there. They're defending our freedom. They're defending the right for us to do this.
My name is Alan Tam. I'm from Arcadia. I'm into feature animation. I do a background for animation film. I worked for Disney for like 15 years, I'm sorry. And now I'm working in Fox and still doing the same thing. I started way back when I was a kid. I'm just fascinated with military hardware. And I had to blame my dad or thank him for it because he bought my first toy, which was a Sherman tank. It's like ever since then, I was like, wow, this is neat. And then the second thing he's got me was a P-51 Mustang. And I was like, oh wow, that's even better. So ever since then, I was interested in armor and aircraft, and also like to draw. So that's let's go from there.
Now, you've been busy.
Yes, I have. I always get busy when I come to your shows. Spend more money than I can afford.
Is that a good thing?
That's a very good thing.
What did y'all get this weekend?
I picked up a half track, these two figures, picked up some DID figures, some loose World War II and loose modern stuff.
A half track, did you say?
I finally got the last half track from the show back there.
How are you getting them home?
I have a truck now. I had to go buy a truck just to get all my stuff home. She rides in the back, and everything else is up front.
Look at her.
My name is Nick Versteg. Our company is Toy Soldiers of San Diego. We're located in North County, San Diego, Fallbrook. And recently we've started to manufacture our own figures in 1/32 scale, which is also 54 millimeter. They're all plastic figures, and we also offer them in the painted form.
All right, so it looks like you guys got a lot of stuff here, huh? Did you have a great time?
We enjoyed it immensely.
Are you coming back?
We'll try. We're from Montreal, so it's a long haul.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Definitely. Did you come here just for this event?
Yes, we did.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. How did you enjoy it?
We have a lot more at the hotel because it's like nearby here.
Oh, yeah? So you've already been here yesterday and got stuff?
Before that.
Good luck getting all this stuff back to your hotel. And I see you're wearing a Weekend of Heroes shirt 2003.
Yes, I've come to the show the last 4 years they've had it here and really enjoyed it. There's a lot to buy here and a lot of just friendly, get together among people in the hobby. I build vehicles. I just won the contest for the vehicles, but it's a fun hobby and it's something, to occupy your time. It's better than going out drinking. My wife knows where I am on the weekends. I'm out in my workshop,
Now, this next exhibitor I'm going to ambush has a very interesting past. She used to be the queen of Barbie retailing. She gave up all the Barbie luxury to get in the mud and trenches with us guys and soldiers. Let's go ask her why. Debbie.
How are you?
Good. She's one of my favorite pals in
I
this
only
entire
call with him.
industry. Tell us a little bit about why you gave up your luxurious Barbie doll lifestyle and got dirty with us boys in the trenches.
Well, actually, I really wanted the collectors to have some very interesting evil figures. And I got tired of all the glamour and going to all the Barbie balls that I figured I'd have to give that up and start grinding myself into the dirt to be like a little grunt to get all these military action figures out for the big boys. I've only got maybe 1 or 2 calls in the 5 years that I've been doing the military evildoers. Everybody else has been very warm and receptive to all the military figures that we have done. So actually I've had no flack whatsoever at all.
This actually having the real bad guys honors the good guys who sacrifice.
You find the most amazing people at this show, and I had the opportunity to meet Quam Pham at the show, and what an incredible guy. That story is amazing.
That actually started with a trip to a bookstore here, walking around on a Friday evening after dinner with my wife, and I saw this book on the bestseller list, and the cover of the book, I saw the picture of two Asian guys. No, not that kind of picture. It's Major Pham in his Marine Corps pilot uniform and his dad. And I thought, how unusual. How unusual. So I stopped and I looked at the book title. It says, A Sense of Duty.
I was born in 1964 at the beginning of the Vietnam War. My dad, as you said, was on the South Vietnamese side. He was a fighter pilot. And so we grew up in the war. He never rotated out of the country. You know, the South Vietnamese, the war was on all the time for the civilians and the military. And then when Saigon fell, he saw what was coming, so he got us out the week before the war was over. Unfortunately for him and many South Vietnamese, he got stuck and was rounded up for re-education. The euphemism for hard labor and starvation for 12 years.
So he was in a camp, basically, or in a...
He was in 10 camps, all around, mostly in North Vietnam and in the remote jungles, as a price he had to pay for losing the war. But what they did in those years was they starved him, they made him do hard labor. 65,000 of them died during those 75 to 79 years. My dad was a strong-willed individual. He was physically tough. He survived it. He almost died when he was incarcerated. But that's communism, and it's the same line of Soviet gulags, Chinese labor camps. It was in that mentality. He persevered all those years, and thank God the United States went back and negotiated with the Vietnamese communists in the 1980s under President Reagan, and then they made a special program, an arrangement for the ex-prisoners to be able to leave Vietnam and come to America.
I don't know, what was tougher, boot camp or growing up with three sisters?
Well, three sisters, all trying to find their identities in California, and all of us, English was our third language, because French was our second, and so it was an interesting time in the late 70s, but we were fortunate. We were part of about 0.7% of the population that didn't have to live under communism. The people who came out later by boat had it much tougher. And so I went to high school, went from 6th grade through high school in Oxnard, went to UCLA, and when I became a citizen about 1984, I felt a sense of duty to do something to pay back for my citizenship, and the Marine Corps was the outlet. I came into service in '87, served for 7 years in active duty, deployed to Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm in 1991, and then the year after that we went back on the carrier, deployed off the ship because Marines fly off the ships, and we went back with a amphibious group into Kuwait and went up and down the Persian Gulf, and then went into Somalia for a couple of weeks to try to fly the United Nations personnel in. And I was on my way to the Persian Gulf in '92, and Dad was coming, and so there's no special favors in the Marine Corps. When you're on deployment schedule, you go. And I was not going to get out of it, so I saw Dad for 5 days and said, I'll see you in 6 months when I get back, because that's destiny. You can't change it, and I think had he changed his mind and said, I'm leaving with my family in '75, our lives would have been totally different with Dad in America. So there's always this hindsight. Be careful what you wish for. Had he come to the United States, maybe I wouldn't have had the drive, the sense of duty to go into the Marine Corps. And he saw that, and he helped me come to terms with that, with all the regrets of not having Dad around for all those years.
Did you know he was alive, or did you know? I mean,
we didn't know the first couple of years, but about '78, '79, our families in Vietnam got letters, and the communists let them write letters, a couple of times a year. So we didn't know when he was going to make it out, or if he's going to make it out at all. That was the scary part. And I think when we reached a time in our life, we just said, we have to do what we need to do to survive here in America. And if he comes, great. We have no control over. But if we fail, we would let him down big time, because he got us out early. And that was always his feeling. He said after the camps that if my family failed America, I'm not responsible. They failed because they failed, and I think that was a strong impetus for us to get through college, get our education, and become citizens who appreciate this country and participate in the process.
Yeah, I thought the energy was just awesome this year. You know, the attendees were just having a great time. Everybody was in great spirits. I mean, smiles everywhere. You know, it was a really fun show.
Oh yeah.
And there's so many families too this year. I mean, it seems every year there's more and more women and their families coming.
I really enjoy walking from the 1/1 scale military vehicle display zone through the U.S. Air Sub Expo, where the guns are just going pop, 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 and the energy and the sound, and then coming back into the action figure zone, where the RC tanks are running crazy, and the dealers are buying and selling. It was fun.
I had a great
It definitely
time.
was.
I had a great time. You know, John, I've always gotten so caught up in the show and the VIPs and the action figures, the tanks and the trucks and all the different stuff that's at the show, that I never really looked at this from a business standpoint. Everybody involved in the situation wins. You know, you've got the sponsors that can actually be there and meet the collectors. You know, and the collectors are going to be more apt to buy from those sponsors because they've met them in person, they've talked to them. So the sponsors are represented. The exhibitors, man, those guys, they didn't have but, you know, barely any time to talk to us for interviews because they're selling stuff left and right. I think the biggest value is for those that really come in and sponsor the show as a sponsor, you know, helping us keep these battle reenactments going. Those types of things really, really draw the crowd in.
We're very fortunate that in the past few years we have fantastic support from fantastic CEOs whose companies are so focused on the hobby and to want to be a part of Weekend Heroes and honor fallen American heroes when majority of these firms are not even American. Mm-hmm. Now that's even more remarkable. That just shows where the passion is from the manufacturer. And as long as that passion is there, the collectors will see it and the retailers will follow it.
That's very true.
It's a win-win situation. Yeah, we're very fortunate. This is our 5th year with Weekend of Heroes, and we're looking for more.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, that concludes this year's A Weekend of Heroes event. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next year, take care of yourself and your dolls.
Dave, action figures. Action figures.
Gotcha. Action figures.